Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Elephant Exposed. I'm just going to jump right into this video. We have another senseless shooting, guys, and this is being covered by multiple media platforms. And I chose this particular shorter coverage to basically go ahead and just break down the story, and then we'll come back and we'll get into further discussion. So without further ado, this is ABC News coverage of this another senseless and racist shooting. Here we go.
Stunning new details about what authorities are calling a racially motivated shooting rampage in Jacksonville, Florida. Police identifying the suspect as 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmetter, the white male allegedly shooting and killing 3 Black people. Investigators releasing this chilling video of the suspect entering the Dollar General store on Saturday. He was armed with an AR-15 style rifle. Police say he fired multiple rounds before turning the gun on himself. The rampage was 11 minutes long. The Jacksonville community in mourning tonight, remembering the victims with vigils and gathering in prayer circles. All this taking place as thousands gathered in the nation's capital on Saturday to mark the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. The sheriff saying the hate that motivated this shooting only adds an additional layer of heartbreak. ABC's Alex Frichet leads us off from Jacksonville.
Tonight, chilling new video of that alleged gunman that authorities say carried out that horrific racially motivated attack at a Jacksonville Dollar General as his community remembers the 3 victims killed.
I want to begin by honoring the 3 precious lives that were lost yesterday. Angela Michelle Carr, 52 years old. Anolt Joseph, or AJ Laguerre Jr., 19 years old. And Gerald Deshaun Gallion, 29 years old.
Authorities say they were senselessly gunned down because they were Black. The alleged gunman identified as 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmetter. Authorities saying that before the shooting, Palmetter was spotted at a historically Black university, an Edward Waters University security guard engaging and forcing the alleged shooter to drive away.
It looks to me that he went there to change into whatever he needed to change into. He had an opportunity to do violence in EWU. He did not.
The sheriff says the 11-minute rampage began Saturday afternoon. At 1:08, surveillance video outside the store captures the shooter without warning, raising his weapon and firing 11 rounds.
Shooting into a Black Kia and murders the first victim, is Angela Carr.
He then walked inside, gun drawn, wearing a tactical vest.
The suspect enters the Dollar General store and engages the second victim, a young 19-year-old victim, Anolt Laguerre.
One of his guns with a white swastika painted on it. Authorities say minutes later, Gerald Gallion entered the store with his girlfriend. The gunman killing Gallion and missing his girlfriend. At 1:18, 10 minutes into the shooting, the gunman allegedly texts his father, telling his dad to check his computer.
Father enters the room and finds a last will and testament of the suspect along with a suicide note on his laptop.
By 1:53, the suspect's family called to alert the Clay County Sheriff's Office. But by that time, the rampage was over, the shooter dying by suicide as officers arrived on scene. Law enforcement says that as a minor, the alleged gunman was held for 72 hours for a mental health examination, but he was not on their radar and he had legally purchased a handgun in April and an AR-15 style rifle in June.
Let me tell you this, there was no criminal record, nothing. There was nothing that we could have done to stop him from owning a firearm, a rifle, or a handgun. There was no red flags.
Governor Ron DeSantis condemning the attack.
We are not going to let people be targeted based on their race. We are going to stand up and we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that people does not triumph in the state of Florida.
Authorities.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there because I have an issue with Governor Ron DeSantis. And this is my thought. I'm gonna stop sharing right now because I want everybody's attention on this one. Okay, this is my issue with political figures with Ron DeSantis. First of all, I want to reiterate a point that I had said in a previous show about the types of political figures that we have. Not one individual that is in a political office, either incumbent or trying to get there. These are not ignorant people. They are not uneducated. They have degrees. They are trying to go for higher power because of those. And of course, because of the money too, but it's really power. Money and power. And whether Mr. Ron DeSantis, governor, and also political presidential candidate, actually believes the statement that he making about this horrific racial shooting, I know for a fact that you had people in that crowd that was trying to hold him accountable. That's why that clip was cut off the way that it was cut off, because they don't want you to hear the people in the background saying it is because of your gaslighting. It is because of your anti-woke campaign, political campaign, that people like this shooter end up becoming radicalized to the point to where they want to actually physically do something. When they hear things like, oh, there's going to be a civil war, there's going to be blood in the streets, that's going to be bad, or stand by, and all this other stuff. Those are call to arms. And by him already being a political figure, and he knows that, and people like him, they know that their base is mostly comprised of racist, supremacist, radical, conspiracy thinking people. They know that. So what I have an issue with governor, political candidate Ron DeSantis is this: how does people like him even sleep at night? Because you're talking out of both ends. And I'm going to try to keep this to where children can watch this. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. In actual life, you have to, whether you personally believe the words that are coming out of your mouth or not, the majority rules. Because see, we live in a democracy. And in a democracy, the majority rules. Whether it's 10-9 or 10-1, it doesn't matter. The point is that the majority rules. And because of that, you're not going to have fans for the losing side. They're not going to be your friend on whatever topic it is. But since we're talking a political stage, we're talking about what we're looking at here in 2024. We're talking about the presidential candidacy. And so therefore, you have to talk to your constituents, and you have to appease and please them, because you have to get them to continue to support you. So you have to speak their language. How am I tying this shooting in? Follow me. So because this shooter hears all this rhetoric, hears all these political points of views, and especially coming in particular from Florida, which is where Ron DeSantis is governor at. When you look at his campaign, it is racism don't exist. We getting rid of everything that makes white people, men, women, and children feel uncomfortable about knowing the truth about Black history and so forth. And we are against pretty much everything that should be basic human rights. Basic human rights. Leaving people what we call the heck alone. And then the main stream of his platform is wokeness, anti-wokeness, which means that we don't want for Black and brown and indigenous people to fight back when people that look like him treat people like me that look like me wrong. When the real two-tier justice system truly is based on my skin tone versus his. We can do the same crime and I will suffer much dire consequences than someone that will be looking like him. So this is what this shooter is being fed constantly. Constantly. So much to the point to where not only do they get emotional, but then they want to act out on the emotion. And when they act out on the emotion, this is what you get. And then if it's not that, then you have the Democrats on the other side. They're saying, this is an example about what I mean about getting rid of the guns or whatever. And then people want to split and divide, the baby when it comes to guns and gun control and stuff like that. So being that I was once military, being that I once was wearing the uniform of military police officer, also worked as a detention officer with the deputy sheriffs, I can tell you right now, I have no problem with a firearm. What my suggestion is this, is that you vet people so much to where it would actually discourage people like him. Did you hear how short he was on a whole list? 72 hours. 72 hours. That ain't nothing. Why wasn't that hold 6 months? And I'm just spitballing. So, like the deputy sheriff said, I'm sorry, he's not a deputy, the sheriff said, no red flags went up. That's because of the time span. That's because it was no thorough and deeper vetting of this individual. So when you hear people like myself and other platforms say, this system is set up to fail, and everyone knows it. And the people that do know, they benefit from it by purchasing of these different weapons and apparatuses. Now, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but this guy was, again, totally tacked out. He had the semi-automatic rifle. He had a ballistic vest. He had looked like ear covers and everything. And he went on a mission. And that mission was to destroy the lives of Black people. And that is how they get radicalized. Again, I'm gonna do another comparison. Just like how you've had these shooters here recently, especially recent. Like I'm talking like the Boston mass murder. These are not old people. These are not grandmas and peepaws. These are young white men that are in their 20s, in their teens, which means that this stuff, their racism is truly taught, bred, and culturalized in whatever they're looking at, and whatever they're hearing, and in the environments that they're coming from. And it's because of the gaslighting, the red herrings that people put in on social media that helps feed their racist and radical beliefs, for them to be so emotionally charged, they actually go out and answer the call when they hear these Trumpite messages, these call to arm messages. Take our country back. It's our country. As if they're painting the picture that white men and women are the only people that have are only real patriots. That white men and women and children are the only ones that have some type of true American pride or whatever. People like Ron DeSantis can really care less about anyone other than themselves. But then they have to come right back in front of the media. And if they are trying to not be drugged through the mud, then they have to go out and make these speeches of denouncing. And that's just because he just wants to sit in his seat. It's not that he really cares. Because if he did, it wouldn't be a part of his platform to say the very opposite. And as far as our community goes, thoughts and prayers, our hearts go out. We have to do more than that. That is a cliche now. And I hate to say it, but I have to say it because this is what this platform is for. We have to come together and actually handle these issues head on, dead on, calling these different things out. We have to do more than just thoughts and prayers. We have actually got to do something. And there are people doing things and holding prayer visuals and different things. All of that is great because it is needed. We need God. Trust me, you're talking, I am a man of faith. But faith without works is dead. Now is the time to actually put works along with faith and get things taken care of. And with that being said, I will let you go. We would try to come up, we would try to continue to follow this story to see if there was a deeper understanding to this. Because unfortunately, the coward did take his own life. But it's time out for this. I have no more. I'll catch you next week.